representing the Administration Police, together with the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, Mutyambai notes that the officers have been misused to extort money from the public, and he goes ahead and says that the practice has tainted the image of the National Police Service and ordered an immediate stop to it.
All right, in other news, now the harsh sentence for a rapist man jailed for life. And this is for defiling an 8-year-old girl 5 years ago. He got a reprieve after the High Court in Kakamega reduced the sentence to 30 years after an appeal. Now, in his ruling, High Court Judge David Majanja said he had considered the sentence handed to Richard Chogo and found it too harsh. The accused has been convicted and sentenced to life imprisonment after being found guilty of defiling the girl in Lusengeli village in Vihiga County in 2014, that is 8th of June 2014, which is 5 years ago.
That's true. These are not the only stories that we are following up for you today. Our newsroom is quite busy working on what has been feeding into our news diary of the day, and during our subsequent bulletins you will be getting more details in as far as these stories are concerned. But for now, we need to move to the international front, and of course there is that top story from South Africa about the xenophobic attacks that has been forming quite a lot, even in terms of your engagement with us online, where South Africa looting it's all about what has been happening with the South African looting, where more than 60 people have been arrested in Johannesburg, South Africa, after rioters looted shops and torched buildings in vehicles. Police fired tear gas, rubber bullets and stun grenades in an attempt to quell the unrest on Monday. Now, many of the targeted shops are reported to be owned by foreign nationals, but the country's police said criminality rather than xenophobia was to blame for the senseless violence. However, Nigeria's foreign ministry said Nigerian shops had been targeted by mindless criminals and promised to take definitive measures. In March, 3 people died during protests that targeted foreign-owned shops in Durban.
And of course, the next story in our Inter's wrap, where the forces of nature have struck yet again as Hurricane Dorian and at least killed 5 people in the Bahamas as Hurricane Dorian continues to batter the country. Prime Minister Hubert Minnis said the deaths were confirmed at the northeastern Abaco Islands, which bore the brunt of the storm, and some 13,000 houses are feared damaged or destroyed. And according to the International Red Cross, these are the figures. Minnis has said Dorian, the second strongest Atlantic hurricane on record, remains extremely dangerous. And pictures showed surging floodwaters, upturned cars and snapped trees. Eyewitness videos and reports paint a picture of massive and widespread floodings, with panicked families fleeing to their roofs to escape the rising floodwaters. And as you can see on our screen, that is pretty much evident with the damage that has been done.
And this is not the first story that we're getting that involves, rather extreme climate and weather conditions. But also moving on to yet another story is that California boat fire, where 4 bodies have been recovered and 4 more spotted on the ocean floor after a boat was destroyed by fire off the coast of California. U.S. authorities have now said, where 5 crew of the commercial diving boat Conception escaped the blaze. Now, the fire started in the early hours of Monday, and the boat was anchored just meters off Santa Cruz Island, about 90 miles west of Los Angeles. The vessel is now submerged as such and rescue operation continues. The cause of the blaze is so far unknown.
And moving on to stories that are making headlines with the Pope, of course, his African tour. And Pope Francis flies out on Wednesday for a week-long tour, visiting 3 Indian Ocean African countries hard hit by poverty, conflict and natural disaster. The Pope will visit Mozambique, Madagascar and Mauritius, countries visited by Pope John Paul II in 1988 and 1999. Mozambique is first on his tour, and the Pope recorded a video message in Portuguese for the people there ahead of his tour, mentioning John Paul's visit. The man known as the Pope of the Poor will only have time to visit the capital cities of the 3 countries. So yes, people there will definitely be getting blessings in abundance.
That's true. Pope Francis. You know, he got his name from Francis of Assisi, who is a saint known to have been having a heart for the poor. And of course, he did a lot in as far as that is concerned. So it's a welcome move, and definitely we shall keep tabs with this story to find out more as and when the Pope lands in the continent. But for now, the Daily Brief continues. And we've got more updates for you from across the regions and beyond. And definitely in just a bit, we shall be sampling your feedback. Let us hear what you've got to say about the stories that we've ran by you so far, as well as some of the issues that have definitely emerged courtesy of the Daily Brief today.
Remember, the hashtag is K24 Daily Brief. You can find us on our social media handles on Twitter as well as on Facebook at K24. That's where you're going to be reaching out to us on and interact with us on the stories that we've been covering, on the live events that we've been talking about. Don't forget to hashtag once again K24 Daily Brief, and that's how you will definitely be able to get through to us as we sample some of your tweets and interact with you further right here on the Daily Brief.
Right, and we've been having quite a lot in as far as the courts are concerned. For now, would like to take you to the Supreme Court. There is a photo session that is currently happening, and of course what has been happening right now is the admitting to the bar of lawyers. And this has been happening at the Supreme Court, and there you have a photo session that is currently ongoing, and we can see some notable faces, key among them the Chief Justice and of course Counsel Nelson Harvey there. And remember, the Chief Justice had a lot to say in as far as this particular event is concerned. Earlier on, Shiksha and myself were talking about the Solomonic words of wisdom that have come forth from the Chief Justice today. Shiksha.
All right, of course, more than 145 approximately, well, that is the figure that we've seen today at the Supreme Court. Those are the lawyers being admitted to the bar. It is quite a prestigious moment, a moment filled with pride, especially on the parents' faces. And of course, that is something that we'll keep covering right here on the Daily Brief. So yes, that is the Supreme Court. For now, we're taking you to other stories that we've been covering, as well as other live events, as well as other court cases. For now, we're moving directly to Milimani Law Courts.
Absolutely. From the Milimani Law Courts today, Joe Mwangi, the former manager of Wendy Waeni, is being arraigned in court. Remember, he was arrested on Monday, and he has been held over charges, ranging from forgery, fraud, as well as threatening Wendy Waeni's mother.
Indeed.
So let's cross over to the court and listen into what is happening in as far as this case is concerned.
Wewe wanna come? Okay.
Right. Wendy Waeni, Shiksha, she's a lady who has been at the limelight for quite a long time, and we've seen her perform across the world, and issues came up after one of the media stations in this country aired an interview, and courtesy of that, now here is Joe Mwangi, who is being arraigned in court. And remember, we said earlier during our second hour of the show that it will be interesting to see how this kind of a story informs talent management in the country.
And of course, Wendy Waeni is famously known as the contortionist. She is an international contortionist, rather. She has represented Kenya severally abroad, and she is also the celebrity teenage contortionist. She is known as that because of the amount of times that she has made the country proud abroad, and of course the amounts of time that she's been seen on tour in different countries doing what she absolutely does best. So I guess this has come at a time where it is very interesting to note that such cases are not something that we've seen rarely happening. They're something that we've also seen a couple of times in the past as well. So this is something that I guess will definitely bring more attention to management, as you said earlier on, especially when it comes to teenagers as well as children.
Right, and she's performed before heads of states and government across the country. I mean, across the world, rather. We've seen him perform before. We've seen her perform before Uhuru Kenyatta, right here in the country. We've seen her perform before Paul Kagame of Rwanda, you know, the Chancellor Germany, that is Angela Merkel, and some of the issues that have come forth courtesy of this particular case will be of interest to talent managers in the country. And we saw even the likes of Norman Magaya, Philip Atale, Edwin Sifuna tweet about this particular issue, that even at one point they offered to give money to the Wendy Waini Foundation. But of course, there was some inconsistencies in terms of procedure, and that made them raise some eyebrows. So definitely this is a story that we shall be following up for you right here at K24 TV.
Well, for now, we're going to be taking you through other stories. We've got our reporter, Franklin Masharia, who is at Supreme Court. So we're taking you back there and listening in to what's happening over this particular ceremony. Of course, the photo session still seems to be ongoing. Franklin, what exactly is the agenda after this finishes? Franklin.
A lot of excitement here, Shiksha, as 147 advocates were actually admitted to the bar this morning. And of course, many getting excited because, of course, it takes a long time and, of course, hard work for many of them to be admitted. According to reports which you've seen recently, about 80% of the people who, or the people who go to the Kenya School of Law to study, many of them, or that 80% of them, failed their exams. So for anyone who has been able to pass their exams and now they are being admitted as the advocates of the High Court, of course it's a big thing for them, and that is why there is a lot of excitement here. There are still those who have been admitted are actually taking photos behind me here with the Chief Justice, and excitement, of course, and a big achievement to them. But the most outstanding person whom we've been able to meet is Paul Udoto. This is the man who at one point wanted to be the Chief Justice of the country. That is in the year 2016. He actually attended the interviews. He was interviewed. By that time, he did not have the much needed experience, I think, and also some certificates clearance from the HELB. It has been a long journey for you. I think it has been more than 15 years, this journey. How do you feel? And I mean, what do you look forward to after being admitted to the bar today?
I want to thank God because the journey has not been easy. It has been a little bit heavy on me. It was more or less a very, very heavy burden upon my shoulders because so many challenges come along the way. We have financial challenges, and as a family man, I have other incidental challenges that were incidental to the family issues and care. But today I feel relieved, I feel happy because what I've been looking for the last about 20 years has now come to be at my hand. It has now been placed on my desk. It is part of my menu. And as you heard the Chief Justice say, being an advocate is about serving the society. It's about serving the community, defending the rights of the people, defending the oppressed, showing the court how to arrive at the justice desired, and also participating in things like referendums are coming, drafting of statutes, amendment of the constitution. So it is too much that we are yet to begin doing. But as of myself, I think I want to straight away step into private practice.
A special recognition from the Chief Justice. He called out your name, and you are the only person among the advocates who was called to the front, and of course he greeted you. And what did that moment mean for you?
It is actually a humbling moment. You feel humbled that you can be recognized by such highly profiled people in the society. It is something I did not expect. I thought it will go on like the tradition has been. They call your name, you stand up and you sit down. But actually I was called in front. I shook the hand of the Chief Justice. It was okay. It was not a handshake as it is in the Kenyan sense, but it was just an aspect of recognition. I really appreciate the Chief Justice even for recognizing me. I thought maybe he could just overlook some of these simple things, but I think he's a man I appreciate for having to identify himself with even the lesser people in the society. Yeah.
We understand that most of the people who join the Kenya School of Law, most of them fail their exams. You as a person who has gone through the system, what actually is the problem?
Kenya School of Law has so many issues. I've seen so many institutions trying to come up to solve that problem. But I think that problem cannot be solved by one institution. The problems at Kenya School of Law are enormous, and they emerge from different sectors of the legal profession and the academic, especially the academic faculty. And when you look at the curriculum, it demands too much, plus the time given. You are given like 9 months, but whatever you have to deal with is actually something that's supposed to be dealt with in a period of more than 18 months. So that's one problem. Secondly, the lecturers at Kenya School of Law are overburdened. I think for us to cover the syllabus, there is need to come up with a way of allowing lecturers to do their best. Because now lecturers are forced just to peruse over, to rush over the syllabus, the curriculum, so that they finish within the required time. And once you also know that it is the CLE that sets the exams. So the CLE will give up the curriculum and they come to set the exam. At times you end up like, it was in 2017, I think the legal practice and management paper, when you look at question 1, it was very challenging. This is something that we've never covered, and I don't think there is any class that covered the issues that were required under that question. So there are so many issues that are not covered, but when you come in the exam room, you find them in the examination papers. In 2016, I sat for my commercial transactions paper. I actually came across a question that there was under the topic of intellectual property, and I never had any time to interact with anything in intellectual property. So
okay, I think there are enough issues. Maybe we hope that the relevant authorities will be able to cover them. Now that you have now been admitted to the bar, and of course many Kenyans have a lot of expectations about you. Probably, what is that outstanding thing that you want to do? Just as you surprised everyone in the year 2016 that you wanted to be the Chief Justice of this country.
Yeah, as such now, I actually want to concentrate on litigation. That's the part of the system that I want to join, and from there are many other issues. I also do research. I do too much research. I study, so I also want to see if I can join the teaching profession at one point or another. And I think with the time, Kenyans will see what God has enabled me to become of.
In 2016, you said where you're working as a carpenter, you said wewe ni mtu tu wa jua kali. Sasa I'm not very sure whether you are going back to that kazi ya jua kali ama kazi ya jua kali umeiambia kwa heri.
These men surrounding me are my colleagues in the system. This is my friend Maina. This is Elijah. I keep on forgetting his name. Gitao, yeah, Gitao. So these are my jua kali people. We work with them. These are Kenyan drivers. We work with them issues that affect the road. So when you become of age and when you become academically muscular, so many issues come on board. So apart from the carpentry I was doing, we also have issues that are affecting the Kenyan drivers. This is called the Wachukuzi Welfare Association. So we are standing here and we want to move in that direction. I think the most outstanding thing that Kenyans will maybe see me doing is to see how we are going to bring about road sanity in Kenya, because many people have tried to do it, but they have neglected the drivers, the people who are on the road, the people who are who have the hands on the job. So their participation in any programs to bring about road sanity has never been put in place.
So the workshop continues?
It's going on. It's going on. In fact, I have 2 workshops, one in Bungoma, another one in Githurai 45.
So utaendelea nazo?
Bana, hiyo siwezi acha bwana. Hiyo ndio mama na baba. Hiyo siwezi wacha. That one I'll go on with it. I'll make it better. I'll bring more people on board. I'll employ people. And I know once I'm joining the profession, I'll get money. I'm going to make it into a big thing, not just this survival type of kiosks. I want to make it a big thing, and maybe I'll expand it to the next levels.
Thank you very much, Udoto. I think we'll talk to one of your watu wa jua kali. I think mtu mmoja. Tuambie jina lako and how does it feel ukiona one of your members ameweza kugraduate sasa ni wakili kamili?
Kwa majina naitwa Zakayo Maina. I'm the chairman of the Wachukuzi Welfare Association. Mimi ndio chair wake kwa hiyo chama. Ni secretary wangu, na ninafurahia sana kwanza siku ya leo kwamba yeye amekuwa endorsed, ni advocate of the High Court, na amekuwa mhambo sana. Nafurahia sababu si mtu mwenye maneno, ni mtu mwenye mtulivu kwa kazi yake yote anayofanya, anatuadvise kwa njia mzuri. Kwa hivyo tunafurahi sana kwake. Tena ni mtu anaweza saidia jamii kutoka chini, hata wale wako chini anawasaidia. So tumefurahia sana kuona yeye amepanda hiyo ngazi. Hata tunamu-encourage kwamba kama vile Chief Justice amemwambia eti agombee hiyo kiti next time, tunamu-encourage aendelee na tutamweka motisha mpaka tuone kwamba amefika mahali pale.
Asante sana, asanteni. That is part of the excitement, as I've said earlier, of the people who are graduating today. We can call it a graduation, but it's just the admission to the bar. The Chief Justice, David Maraga, of course, telling them that, or asking them that some of them should join government through the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions in order to help in pushing and helping in being able to litigate cases, or the many cases which are in court. And of course the CJ talking about the number of cases in court and how the presence or the admission of these advocates will actually help in ending these cases or bringing them to a logical conclusion. And hopefully many Kenyans will benefit from the intellect of these advocates who have been admitted here in actually solving the cases and helping them, or of course even advising them that most of the cases or some of the cases do not have to be taken to these courts, but they can be, the litigations can be done even from the village settings or even at the village elders level. Back to your studio.
Franklin Masharia from Supreme Courts. Of course, he has been speaking to a couple of people, a couple of lawyers that are pretty evidently excited about being admitted to the bar, and the passion for law oozing through his words. Very brilliant gentleman there.
That's true. Focusing on road safety.
Indeed.
That is quite an interesting area of focus. We need to take you, though, to the Milimani Law Courts. Remember, we told you former Wendy Waini's manager, that is Joe Mwangi, is being arraigned in court this morning. So let's cross over to the court and listen into what's happening.
Yes, Your
Right, of course, that is at Milimani Law Courts, where the magistrate has made an appearance, and we'll definitely be following up to see what happens with that particular court case regarding the ex-manager to child star Wendy Waini, that is Joe Mwangi, who has definitely been alleged of, charged in connection with forgery and issuing threats to Wendy's mother.
That's true. Also happening today, the network of civil societies is having a press conference on the planned Mau evictions. There they are. Let's listen in to what they're saying.
The Mau forest is a backbone of water and natural resources in Kenya and even Africa at large. It therefore becomes a concern to us on its current status. It is quite clear that the forest has been encroached and is being destroyed haphazardly. Who then is responsible? Who will be the savior? And what is essentially happening? According to the report by Mau Task Force in 2009, this was a subcommittee report, subcommittee cabinet report in 2009, you can remember. The preamble of Mau issue dates back to 1970s, when the government of Kenya initiated adjudication of Mau Forest Complex, including the Masai Mau Forest Unit. The squabbles being witnessed today have their beginning traced in 1999. Request by local land control board, request to subdivide the then established ranches. A request that created a loophole utilized by various government officials, private surveyors and other influential figures to increase the sizes of assigned ranches. The fraudulence was supported by some of Kenya Wildlife Service staff, On 5th March 2018, the Deputy President, at his residence in Karen, launched another task force, Forest Resources Management and Logging Activities in Kenya, chaired by Marion Wakanyi Kamau. It presented its report on 30th April 2018. The report entailed, among other forest-related matters, a confirmation of the destruction, degradation, and encroachment of Mau cited to have taken place in more than 2 decades. In a nutshell, government's effort to clear people from the forest land is called for and commended. It is the responsibility of the government to protect and to conserve Mau irrespective of circumstances thereon. Making this issue political as it is, being witnessed a section of members of parliament, especially those from Kericho and Uasin Gishu counties, is uncalled for. They were not part of the caucus initiated by the national government and the county government of Narok leadership, which resolved to effect the eviction. It is a ridicule from such leaders to criticize the exercise. Network of civil societies group has successfully engaged the relevant stakeholders, that is from the national government and county government of Narok, and the affected families here is their stand. We fully support the Cabinet Secretary of the Environment, Minister Honorable Dr. Professor Keriako Tobiko, in his quest to ensure that natural resources are protected, one of the big 4 agendas being marshaled by His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta. We also commend the President and the Rift Valley Regional Commissioner George Natambea for their leadership in matters saving the backbone of our country's climate. Thumbs up to the Cabinet Secretary. Stay put, and thou shalt not be moved, even a single inch, by the political parroting from handout seekers, extortionists seeking political mileages like John Koech, MP Belgut. Stay strong, sir, for you have our support as Kenyans. In conclusion, the network of civil societies group makes the following demands. Political leaders, and I want to repeat, political leaders should shun from interfering with the process of evicting those in Mau. They should rather concentrate on serving the constituents. We condemn their incitements. 2, respect and support should be accorded to the President, Cabinet Secretary, and all government officials striving to make the process a success. Failure to which we as the civil community and with the support from Kenya citizenry will take a legal action against your interferences, whether through unreasonable remarks or any kinds of public incitement. Thank you very much, and may God bless you. God bless Kenya. Thank you so much.
What a ton of